heard about this rule of giving presentations in English. Number 1, tell me what you're going to tell me. Number 2, tell me. Number 3, tell me what you told me. Essentially, what we are talking about here are the 3 main parts of an English presentation. Number 1, introduction, or the opening, where you tell me the key highlights or a quick overview of your presentation. Number 2 is tell me, the body, where you actually tell me about the key points and probably all the details about your topic. And last is the conclusion where you quickly summarize all the highlights, all the key details and the focus of your topic. Hi, I am Surabhi Jain, your language acquisition coach, and I help you learn English beyond classroom. I help you love your English, live your English so that you become a confident, natural and automatic English speaker. And if you want to know more about these 3 parts of the presentation, stay till the end. Welcome back. So in today's lesson, I'm going to focus on the second part of your presentation. That tell me, that body of your presentation, where you want to share the maximum information. You want to share everything with your audience, whether it is a small group or at a business meeting or hundreds of people at a conference. So I'm going to break today's lesson in 2 parts. Number 1, how to organize that information in your presentation. And number 2, how to make it effective and easy to follow. Now, as we begin with the first part of the video, that is organizing the information inside your presentation, I want you to follow 2 things. The first is the rule of 3. Now, 3 is a magical number and it's a personal favorite of almost all the public speakers. If you look at a presentation, it is also divided in 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Now, when it comes to the body, typically if your presentation is 10 to 20 minutes long, you can divide the body in 3 parts. You can share 3 key details or 3 major information with your audience. And for each key point, you can have 3 supporting details. Now, these supporting details can be a story, it can be a statistic, or some other valuable information. Now, when you sit to prepare for your presentation, you have so many ideas flustering in your mind, and you might end up finding up a lot of information which you wish to share with your audience. Now, this particular step helps you to strategically organize that information, because this step helps you to find out what are the main points you want to discuss with your audience, what is the most important point, and what are the important key details which you want to share to support the information which you are sharing with your audience. So the second thing I need you to understand about organizing the body of your presentation is what is the best way to present it. Now, here you can use certain formulas. Number 1, the chronological order. Now, this is talking about each step in a proper way. First, second, third, and so on. You can also use the contrast and comparison formula. Now, if there are certain details or ideas in your presentation which are quite similar to each other, this formula helps you to organize your presentation. The next is the order of importance. Now, if your presentation has a lot of key details, you can start with the most important detail while slowly working it down to the least important. The other one is totally dependent upon the subject of your presentation. And this is the problem and solution or cause and effect way. Suppose you have been doing a research on a particular problem. Now, you might want the audience to first focus on the problem. So you might start by defining the problem, what the problem was or is, and then slowly lead your audience towards the solution of that problem. Now, let me tell you, this video is part 3 of my presentation series, where I help you master English presentations. Now, if you remember in part 1, where we talked about how to prepare for your presentations, we assumed that your audience is at the starting point A, and you want them to lead to the final destination, which is point B. And throughout this journey, you want them to follow where you are going. So for sure, you don't want your audience to get lost, bored, overwhelmed, or confused. So this takes us to part 2 of this video. 3 ways to make sure your presentation is easy to follow. Number 1, avoid jargons. Jargons are the technical words or language used in a profession. English for every profession has different technical terms, language, or jargons. Now, words for your profession might be understood by the people who belong to your profession. But if you use these jargons outside your profession with the people who don't understand, they might get confused or lost. Now, suppose you are a software engineer and you are speaking to other software engineers, or you are a marketing consultant and you're presenting in front of a group of other marketing experts. They might be able to understand the language which you use. So it is feasible to use those technical words or jargons in that kind of presentation. But if the people do not belong to your profession, they might get confused. So I recommend to avoid these jargons as much as possible. Number 2, keep it simple. Generally, when we are communicating in a second language, we feel this pressure of using advanced language, complex grammar, academic vocabulary. But try to understand, when you use a lot of complex grammar and vocabulary, it creates 2 problems. First, it creates a lot of room to make mistakes and forget what you are trying to say. And the second, it makes it difficult for your audience to follow what you're saying. And if they don't understand what you're saying, they might get bored and lose connection with your speech. So it is highly recommended to keep your language simple and easily comprehensible by your audience. If you have really complex ideas to share, it is advisable to break down those ideas in simple and easy to understand language. Number 3 is signposting. Signposting is the language which helps our audience to know where we are going. Now, if you remember, in the very beginning of this video, I told you that I'm going to break this lesson in 2 parts. Number 1, how to organize information, and number 2, how to make it easy to follow. What did I do? I used signposting because I gave you some information, some idea what you can expect. The signposting gives an idea to your audience what they can expect. They are ready, they anticipate what you're going to do. So that's what signposting does. It helps you whenever you want to make a move, whenever you want to change the topic or address a new idea. Signposting helps your audience to stay focused and engaged on you and the information which you want to share. In English, we use signposting all the time to start a topic, for transition to a new topic, referring to a previous information, introducing a graph, a chart, or a visual image, or highlighting an example. So that was about today's lesson. Let us quickly recapitulate what we learned today. So today we learned, number 1, how to organize the information you want to share in the body of your presentation. And for that, you need to follow 2 steps. Number 1, follow the rule of 3. And number 2, find out what is the best way to present your information. And the second part was, how can I make it easily understandable by the audience? So for that, you need to follow 3 simple ways. Number 1, just avoid jargons. Number 2, keep it simple. And number 3, use signposting. So before we end today's session, I want you to write down in the comment box what was your favorite part of today's lesson. And is there any technique you learned for the very first time? Do mention in the comment box. Now, quick reminder, this was part 3 of my presentation series where I help you master English presentations. So the first video was how to prepare for an English presentation. The link is in the description. And the second video was about how to organize the introduction for a presentation. Now this was part 3 where you learned how to organize the body of your presentation, and part 4, the next part, will be about how to summarize, how to conclude your presentation. So keep on following me for the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss the next video in the series. Now, if you liked this video, do give it a thumbs up. Do press that like button over there. And if you have a colleague who has a presentation in English coming up soon, do share it with that colleague because it might be a great help to him. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the video. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week when I share the video on how to prepare your conclusion. So be there. Don't miss the video. Till then, this is Surabhi Jain saying goodbye.